Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Plant-Based Morning Show. It's Wednesday, September 20th. This show runs Tuesday through Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, all those days. Sponsored, presented by Compliment, which is at lovecompliment.com. Plant-based supplements and the best ones you will find. That's our guarantee. We guarantee it. I'm going to add Doug into Instagram here and see what he's up to on this Wednesday, this hump day. See how his week's going, if it's passing quickly or not. First 5-day week after a 4-day week, never easy to deal with, but we're dealing. Okay, there's Doug. How's it going, Doug?
Was last week a 4-day week?
Thought it was. Wasn't Monday the holiday?
Labor Day? Was like 2 weeks ago.
I don't know. Labor Day was September 4th. September 4th, 10th. Yeah, I think it was. I don't know.
Well,
maybe not.
It doesn't matter. Happy hump day, Matt.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, happy hump day to you. Yeah, what's going on, Doug? Anything special?
I've spent my morning writing all about longevity, fitness for longevity.
Oh, yeah? Why is that, Doug?
Just for a secret project we're working on.
Okay. We don't have a link yet where people can go learn more about the secret project?
Links. No link for another 10-ish days.
Okay.
But get excited.
Just
it's gonna be cool.
Little teaser. Yep, it will be cool.
Oh, I had a setback on my running.
Okay. Tell us about it.
It happened yesterday. We're off to a great start this morning. Yesterday on my run, I kicked a rock with my pinky toe, and it hurt, and it bothered me for a little bit for the rest of the run. But I didn't think too much of it. Well, I woke up this morning, and it's like super swollen, all black and blue, very very tender, and I'm just really hoping I didn't break it. That's my fear. I don't want to have a broken pinky toe.
Right, you do not. That's a pretty common injury. My Ellery right now is dealing with that same toe injury.
Oh, really?
She kicked. She plays soccer, and that aggravates it. But that's not where she hurt it. She hurt it just. I forget what she did. She kicked the island of our kitchen. There's like a corner. You can kick that, and she did. I did the same thing during COVID. Got a big blue pinky toe we played like a tag game in our house, and I forget what I ran into, but it was something like that. But yeah, they're easy to injure, and it's probably one of those things where it doesn't matter if it's broken or bruised. You don't do anything different. You just ride it out.
Yeah. How long did it take for you to ride it out?
I don't remember at all. Probably a couple weeks. Can you still run on it?
I don't have weeks, Matt. I don't have weeks.
Well, you can still get out there and run.
I ran on it yesterday. I finished my run yesterday, but I have not tried it this morning.
Okay. Well, be careful. Don't adjust your stride and get another injury as a result of favoring one foot.
Could be a problem.
All right. Well, people
good morning,
here.
everybody.
Yep. Emery's here. Steven's here. He says he paused his Welcome to Wrexham binge for this. That's exciting. I have not yet delved into Welcome to Wrexham, despite lots of recommendations. And I do believe it will be much better than Ted Lasso, which I did not enjoy at all. The season I watched anyway. Steven, you couldn't bother to text me back yesterday. I sent Steven a nice WhatsApp thing about the Champions League soccer. It was an astounding ending to one game. And I wrote, and I haven't heard anything yet.
Oh, man.
Which is fine, because often he texts, and I don't write back because my WhatsApp, I don't get good notifications on it. But anyway, no problem there, Steven. Kate, Mr. Jeffrey. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, there's more here, but that's who have said good morning. So,
I have one episode left in Welcome to Wrexham. Season 1. I think season 2 is about to drop, or maybe just dropped. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
How's it comparing to Ted Lasso?
Well, it's completely different.
Do they have annoying fictional characters who grunt and then have annoying girlfriends who make you not want to watch the show anymore?
No, I don't think either of those shows have that. No? So I guess it is the same.
Okay.
No, it's totally different. It's got some quirkiness that I think you'll either like or not like. I'm not sure. TBD. I often can't tell what you're gonna like or not like, actually.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's. I thought I very much enjoyed it, and Katie has too. So that's good.
Cool. I need to start watching it. What is it on, by the way?
Hulu.
Where can I get it? Okay.
Or FX, I guess, but I watched it on Hulu.
I've watched a few minutes of the Conor McGregor mini docu-series on Netflix, and I enjoyed those few minutes. I think I watched about 10 minutes of it. It's called McGregor Forever. And I guess I can't say I was hooked because I only watched 10 minutes, but I'm going to return to that one.
Why did you watch 10 minutes of anything?
Because I didn't want to forget about it. I saw it in an email newsletter, and I said, I got to see that, but I didn't really feel like watching it. I think I was more into playing video games at the moment. So I just put it on so that it would kind of show up my feed, and I'd at least remember a little bit better. I don't know. And it was good.
You get your 10 minutes of Netflix, you get your 4 allocated Doritos a day,
Exactly.
and you're fine.
Yep.
And then you spend the next 5 hours playing Zelda. So
yeah, exactly. FIFA comes out on Friday, the new FIFA, EAFC it'll be called, no longer called FIFA. So that's exciting for me in my household. We're waiting with bated breath. We'll be going to the soccer game tonight, me and Holden, which will be fun. Holden and I.
A Charlotte FC game?
Charlotte FC versus Philadelphia Union.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll be a good time. And Steven says he did reply. See, this is my thing. I said I don't often know when he sends me messages because I can't figure out the WhatsApp notifications. I can't get it to like go on my phone and tell me when people text.
So you called somebody out publicly on a large podcast for not replying, only to not know how to use the app yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Well, at least now Steven knows, because I always tell him I don't get WhatsApp things. It's not that I'm not testing back, it's that I don't get his messages. I don't see that they came. So at least now he knows that's true, because here I made a fool of myself. All right. One more thing. I know this is not at all plant-based content we're doing here, so I apologize, everyone. But Steven says Conor McGregor competes for the title of most famous abroad and least liked at home. He competes with Bono, he meant to say. So that's funny. I had no idea he was not liked. I mean, I don't feel like anyone. I don't know. I'm a fan of his antics. Like, it's fun to watch his stuff, but I don't feel like I like the guy. It seems like somebody who you probably wouldn't like if you got to know him. I mean, maybe that's not true. I don't know. I don't know that well, but
it's his persona. Yeah,
I mean, anyone who's that loud and whatever, loud is really kind of just how he seems. It just never seems like someone who I'd like be fast friends with. So I'm not surprised that he's not liked. But I don't know. Whatever. But he's not the pride of Ireland. I thought he would be. But Bono also not liked. What's there not liked about Bono, Doug? Isn't he like a climate champion?
He's a climate champion, sure. He also forced his record onto every iPhone there for a while. Remember that?
Right. Yes, I do remember that. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get to the show here. I did put it up yesterday for Bianca's sake. I have a soft spot for Bianca. Once I heard that she doesn't like that it's gone up a day late, I changed. So hopefully I'll continue that.
Good.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So anything else, though, before we get to our weather report for the day?
Oh, I don't think so. I do not think so. Let's just jump into it.
Okay. Let us do it. Just getting everything queued up here. More problems with the sound machine today. I don't think it's going to work.
You going to blame your daughter again?
I had a talk with her about returning the computer with power, full power. You can't just give it back to me drained and not plug it in. So that's what happened. But anyway, no, I don't know what's going on with the Google Chrome. Maybe it's this Chromebook is the problem. All right, here we go. The California Food Safety Act, also known as the Skittles ban by a lot of people, it's moving closer to reality. This is not a new thing. It happened last Tuesday. The California lawmakers voted and passed the bill. Now it's on its way to the state's governor, Gavin Newsom. And if passed, what it will do, people were saying it will ban Skittles. That's what everyone was concerned about. Turned out that's not actually happening. It would never have banned Skittles. But now they've removed titanium dioxide from the list of ingredients that are being or potentially will be banned in California. And I think that was the one that Skittles contained. What would have happened if it was, and what will happen with brands that use the other additives here, like brominated vegetable oil, potassium bromate, propylparaben, and red dye number 3, is that those companies will, of course, just change the recipes to the ones that they are already using in Europe and many other countries. So it wouldn't just, no one's going to pull their products from the shelves all of a sudden because you can't use these additives anymore. So, I think this is exciting news for me. We always, anytime we've gone to Europe, we say, why don't we just have such clean food labels as some of these things do? Even the Takis over there, they just look like they're made from normal stuff instead of all this junk. So I'm glad about this one. I hope this happens.
It's not too much government oversight for you.
No, I mean, I guess the people could decide just not to buy the product, and then we could let the market drive this. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. I like the availability for my own sake, right? Because if that demand's not going to happen, because people aren't going to demand that, because people, don't care. So therefore, I won't be able to get healthy snack foods, and so it's okay as long as it benefits me. I'm good with it.
There you go. No, I think it's good too, and obviously, like as if California were to pass something like this, a lot of companies wouldn't create something for California and something else for the rest of the United States. So they would just change it, change it across the board here in the U.S., and that would benefit most of us.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was thinking like they already have the recipes in Europe, so maybe they could just start shipping some of that to California. But maybe because it's a different continent, they'd pretty much just go ahead and shift everything to that. That would be, and you imagine California is a large share of the market. I don't know how big in the U.S. But maybe decent size. So yeah, that would be nice. It won't, and none of it will take effect until 2027 anyway. But that'll be here before we know it. Time flies. So I hope it does. Hope it does come everywhere.
And a lot of the stuff, as California goes, so does the rest of the United States, or at least the Northeast, the blue states. So I think that probably if this were to pass in California, then it wouldn't be that long before it passed somewhere else.
Right. Okay. Has the marijuana craze swept the Northeast yet? Blue states?
Oh yeah.
It hasn't?
Definitely.
I didn't know. Okay. All right.
I think half of the U.S. now is legalized.
Yeah, I know that. I just didn't. The states I always hear about, I don't think of them as being New England states, but I don't listen very closely. Okay, Plant-Based World Expo Europe. Speaking of Europe, speaking of Steven, you can go to it, and maybe Steven will greet you there on behalf of the Plant-Based Morning Show. It's at the Plant-Based World Pulse Theater in London, November 15th and 16th. The only reason I'm including it in this story is because they're one of their headlining things. They put out their list of big whatever key, or what are they called? What are the talks called when you have keynote talks? They put out their big talks and their big events schedule, and one of them is the debut of the Veganuary documentary, the UK film premiere of It'll Never Catch On, the Veganuary story 10 years on. A short film marking a decade of the world famous vegan movement. So on one hand, that seems cool. On the other hand, that's probably the most boring documentary you've ever seen. What would be, how can that be a documentary? It's not like anything. I mean, I guess it's a nice story that it has grown. And I guess if it was true that people said it'll never catch on, then it's a nice little underdog story as well. But what's there to say about it? I mean, just the numbers grow each year, and maybe it features some people whose lives have changed. I don't know.
Yeah, you feature those people. I'm sure they can tell a good story. Maybe less drama. It's not like they're saving a whale from being killed or something.
Or Conor McGregor.
Or Conor McGregor.
Trevor McGregor, yeah.
That's funny.
All right, and finally, this from Veg News. I didn't see this study anywhere else, so good job, Veg News, especially because it's not a study that relates to plant-based stuff at all. The result they found is eating breakfast early in the morning may help to reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. According to this study, it was conducted by Barcelona Institute for Global Health, also referred to as IS Global. Looked at 100,000 people, and most of them were women, Veg News points out. And they found that eating breakfast after 9 a.m. may increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by nearly 60% compared to those who ate it before 8 a.m. So only an hour difference there. I mean, it could be more because you could have people eating at 6 a.m. and they'd fall in group 1, and people at 10 a.m. or skipping entirely who are in group 2. But that hour is the important part. That difference, 60% change in diabetes rate, according to this study. It's in line with an approach called chrononutrition, which focuses on the link between nutrition and circadian biology. And the other thing they also found was that if you eat after 10 p.m., you also may increase the risk. while eating regularly at 5 times a day seem to reduce the risk. So on one hand, in the morning side, it's almost like it is an anti-intermittent fasting approach, right? Because the intermittent fasters are saying, wake up, go for as long as you can, basically until you eat. But we've heard this elsewhere that skipping breakfast is linked to several bad health outcomes. I think particularly cardiovascular risk. So like there is this fat loss benefit that seems to come from intermittent fasting, but it doesn't actually seem to be a healthy behavior long term. But on the other end, eating after 10 p.m. in this case is bad, just like it would be on intermittent fasting. So in that case, you have agreement. I guess it just comes down to kind of when we're supposed to be asleep, we shouldn't be eating. And when we are awake, we probably should. So Veg News, by the way, they then when, of course, their headline said, why an early plant-based breakfast may reduce the risk of diabetes. And then you read and you realize it has nothing to do with plant-based. But then in the second half of the article, they point out that plant-based diet also is linked to lower diabetes risk. And then it made the connection. So I mean, they got to do their job. That's how they do it. But I don't know. Where do you stand, Doug, on this eating breakfast thing? Are you still on your intermittent fasting kick?
I'm not. No, I really am not. And part of that is just we've talked about this a little bit. Is I run in the mornings most days is when I run like early, and if I don't eat before I run, but if I go too long without eating afterwards, I just get so hungry and cranky, and so it just if I'm back by 6:45 from a run, then then I would like to eat by 7:30 or I start getting cranky. So I'm not on the kick right now, and I don't know if I'll go back. Maybe I will.
Well, I think the way to do it is as a series of kicks. I think now and then go do it for a little while, maybe help burn some fat. I don't know. I don't think it's, as we said, it's not probably a long-term way to eat healthily. But now and then, maybe that's also the case for this slow carb thing that I'm on, where it's not something I want to do forever. But now and then, it burns fat like crazy, so I like it. I will say part of this, one of the main things in this slow carb diet, it's slow carb, not low carb, of Tim Ferriss's is consume 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up. And I've seen that rule in a lot of places now. It's not just in that diet, and I don't know if it came from that diet, but you hear it all over the place now. And I can't really find the reason or the science that would say, like, this is a really important thing. I don't know if it's about making you feel somehow satiated so that you are less likely to break the diet later and, binge on simple carbohydrates, or if it's about muscle repair, which some things say it is, or if it was about something else. So I don't really know. But I do find it interesting that, like, when everyone else in the, that kind of world, the Tim Ferriss, the low carb world, is saying basically intermittent fast, don't eat anything. They're not all saying that, certainly, but some of them are. That he's saying it's very important that you eat within that first half hour of waking up. So anyway, I've not been doing it this second time around. It's the least favorite part of it for me because I just am not hungry at that hour. And so we'll see. We'll see if my results suffer at all from not eating.
What would 30 grams on a slow carb diet look like?
Well, if you were not a vegan, it could be, bacon or whatever else. For me, it is complement protein. So nice little ad placement here. Because it's the only way I can get that. If I ate a bunch of tofu in the morning, I could do it without getting too many carbohydrates. Because you want 30 grams of protein, but you can't really cheat by just eating a giant meal that has 30 grams of protein and also has a ton of carbohydrate and fat. Like, you also want it to be a large, I think he said maybe 60% or something of the calories in the meal are protein. So anyway, for me, it's complement protein. I mix it with a little bit of peanut butter and water. And, I like that kind of drink better when I can put banana in it. A little bit of sweetness, but that's not really supposed to be part of this diet.
Yeah. Do you put banana in?
This go around, the first time I wasn't at all. This go around, when we started doing it again, Aaron and I, we said we're going to do it, but we want to do it in a little bit healthier, more sustainable fashion. So we were going to allow whole fruit. That's fine. And we're going to allow actual whole grains that are not ground into flour, but actual, like if it's a whole bulgur wheat or whole, actually, I don't even know if bulgur wheat would count. But wheat berries, for example, like that would be okay. So anyway, so I put like a half a banana or a quarter banana in the smoothie just to make it good. Yeah. But, I don't know. So I'm not sure. I'm definitely not doing the diet quite as strict as I did before.
Chocolate protein, unflavored protein?
Chocolate. I like the chocolate one.
Chocolate, little bit of banana, a little peanut butter, water.
That's it. And ice and creatine.
That's it. All
yep.
Right.
That is.
Well, there you go.
Sorry, interruption. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So there you go. Okay, good. So there is your weather report. Not really too much of interest. No new 3D printed foods or anything like that today. All right, so let's get to these articles. We got the one that we didn't get to yesterday. It's from Deseret.com, Deseret News. Do you know what that name is, Doug?
No, never heard of it.
Not Desiree, is it? Like a French?
Could be.
I don't know. Well, it's from Utah. It's from Utah Today.
Mm.
So I don't really think it's French. But anyway, it's help my son as a vegan. Or sorry, perspective. Help my son as a vegan. And the subheadline: I'm proud he's standing up for the animals, but can there be Thanksgiving without turkey? So I don't really know what to say about the article. That's why we're hesitant to do it yesterday. It's a mother whose son goes off to college, and the article begins in sort of a like lamenting the fact that he has come home being vegan. And at first I thought it's just an old person who's like doesn't like change. And like it starts off, every parent knows there's a risk when a child goes away for an extended period of time, whether to college or camp, college, mission, or job. That child will be different in some way when they return. Like the hair that was blonde might be pink. The voter registration card may reflect a different political party from yours. And the carnivore you raised may now be vegan. Which, so from the get-go, I was like, okay, like I thought that was kind of the point of going off to college, right? Like you become your own person and you do your own thing. She's viewing that as a risk, I guess, that the person would change. So I was thinking, okay, this is not going to be good. They're going to be against veganism. They're going to be against Thanksgiving without turkey. But it turns out, as it goes on, she sounds like she's supportive of the change. Really likes that he's helping to cook in the kitchen, and he's taking that approach to his veganism. That's one of his ways to spread the message, is by cooking for people and helping cook. Turns out she probably encouraged this by growing up in a house or raising them in an household where they saved spiders. They didn't smash them; they just rehomed them. They called it. So I don't know. So gradually she changes, and at the end, sort of seems supportive. Then ends on a very odd note. But I don't know, Doug, like I said, I don't know what to say about the article. I found it interesting to read, but here talking about it, like I don't know. What are the points here that we need to hit?
Well, so what I found maybe was the most interesting isn't one of the points you brought up. Was about his approach to veganism and his friend's approach. It sounds like he made a bunch of friends that were vegan, convinced him to go vegan. And okay, let me just try to read something.
Okay.
Okay. This is a quote. Being vegetarian/vegan can sometimes feel like you're making a situation more difficult for those cooking at family gatherings, one writer said. But surprisingly, the vegans writing there seem perfectly content with eating what they can at a family gathering and ignoring the rest, bringing their own food, or even waiting until after the gathering to eat, as my son recently did at a family reunion where barbecue and shrimp were the entrees. This is vastly different than the militant animal rights activism of groups like PETA. In fact, I'm told PETA is out of favor with my son and his friends because of the euthanasia scandal a decade ago. Those young vegans seem remarkably laid back, hoping to win family members to their cause by sharing tasty dishes.
Okay. Yeah, I read that as well. Didn't really get the significance. I guess I was skimming. That she's saying it's not. I was thinking that the son sounded a lot like us, and that this vegan resource center, they seem to have the same approach to spreading the message as we do, which is not one to pressure people into doing it or be militant and all that. But I like that she's saying that's sort of the young vegan trend. This is what veganism now looks like, and she does go on to refer to the young vegans a whole lot in the rest of the article.
Yeah,
which I found kind of funny. But I didn't know about the euthanasia scandal with PETA. I did click on it yesterday and checked it out.
I don't know anything about it.
They have a whole bunch of animal, I guess, shelters, rescue, places where they would adopt dogs out. I think it's dogs specifically that the scandal was about. And like a really large percentage of them were being euthanized. And apparently PETA had no answer for why that was. I think it was in the Atlantic where I read that.
I kind of remember that now that you say it.
Yeah, so I guess the young vegans don't like PETA, according to this sort of
Yeah, but what I found was interesting, and I wonder how true this is. Whether that is actually true about young vegans. Like if you and I and probably most of the listeners here tend to fall into the non-aggressive ad campaigns that PETA is known for, and more of a friendly, let's not make a big deal out of it type of approach to growing the movement. But young vegans, where veganism is most popular with our young adults, often in college probably, are they into that? Because when I was all about activism and making a scene in some ways.
Yeah, I wondered that as well. I was thinking, I mean, I know the millennials don't like being called lazy. By the way, some people consider us millennials, though, even me, like I'm apparently at the very, very upper end of millennial, and I've never thought that or heard that. Is that your age range of millennial? Like, is that what you think?
I think I'm a millennial. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why. I thought I was Gen X or something and not really even close to millennial, but I don't know. Anyway, I wonder that
Yeah, I'm 81 to 94.
Okay, so I just missed it, but that's fine. So yeah, so I wonder, I don't know, is it possible that you could be kind of someone who can still think for yourself, still make a decision, still make a conscious, non-selfish decision, but not really care that much about anybody else and what they do, and say, I'm just going to do this because that's my attitude towards veganism. Is this feels right for me, but it's not my job to try to convince the world to be this way. Is it possible that maybe millennials just have that sort of attitude that they're like, well, whatever? But I think with millennials comes this with the stereotype of millennials, which I'm not at all saying is fair, is the idea that they expect to be catered to and everything will be taken care of for them, and that therefore they wouldn't be very happy going to a dinner and then not having any food for them.
Yeah, I guess so. But millennials aren't in college right now.
So this is even right.
Gen Z is in college. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know anything about Gen Z. I don't know.
Well, Gen Z is, I think, even. Well, I don't know. Those stereotypes are shut down.
Right. I know. And I'm saying I'm not saying I agree with them at all. I don't honestly know many. Well, I guess we work with people millennials.
I'm a millennial. Half our team is millennial.
I feel like McKenna's millennial. I don't feel like you and the other people your age are.
Okay.
It just seems like a different. I don't know. What do I know? Who knows? Anyway, all right. More things from the article. Not in any coherent order. I don't know what the case I'm trying to build. First of all, she mentions Dr. Peter Attia, which I found interesting. He's a hunter, she says. And he said on his podcast, if you can't actually kill an animal psychologically, then maybe you should question whether you actually should be eating them. Which seems like an odd thing for Peter Attia to say, because he's like Mr. Protein in his book. But I guess he thinks therefore everyone should be a hunter, so that you can kill an animal and therefore you can eat them. But then later she says the son's younger sister 3 months ago announced that now she is vegetarian. She said, I only have 4 children. So if this continues, I'll soon be outnumbered. I want to honor the choices and not have anything in the house that will tempt them. I also still want a honey baked ham. This shows me a little bit of a lack of understanding. It doesn't sound to me like the son who apparently brought home literature and put that on the refrigerator that shames her about eggs. It doesn't sound like he's going to be tempted by your honey baked ham, right? Right. I don't think tempt is the right word. It might upset them that that's being served at the same house and that they weren't able to kind of make a change or have a Thanksgiving where they don't have to see that stuff. But I don't think the temptation of the honey baked ham is what's going to ultimately upset their veganism. I don't know them, obviously. So I thought that was weird. And then the other part I thought was funny on here. So I'm not sure about the son. I don't know what I'd like to talk to him and just see what his driving forces are. But so here's what he says. So she starts to be converted here, and after he offers help in the kitchen. And by the way, she uses a quote from Anna Lamb, who says, "If I have it my way, I completely commandeer the kitchen just to make my being vegan not a burden for others. This way, they don't feel they're pressured to accommodate me." She's talking about when she visits family. So I looked up the definition of commandeer because I just thought that seems weird. It's officially take possession or control of something, especially for military purposes, or take possession of something without authority. So to me, I feel like the vegan commandeering the kitchen and kind of taking it over, that's a way to get people upset that all that's coming out of the kitchen is veganism, because the vegan took it over by force for military purposes. So I don't love that either. I just sort of try to stay out of the way and maybe offer to help cook my own thing or bring my own thing, whatever. But wouldn't want to take over the place's Thanksgiving kitchen and then start cranking out vegan food for everybody. But anyway, the son, so he starts to convert the mom into at least this way of thinking. And she likes that he makes vegan pancakes. He makes vegan cinnamon rolls that are better than Cinnabon. And is introduced me to a delicious black bean spaghetti that has 45 grams of protein per serving, which is a massive amount of protein. Maybe it's true, but I don't get, like, this is the thing. Why do vegans have to change the spaghetti? The regular spaghetti is vegan and tastes good to people. I guess the mom likes this delicious black bean spaghetti. But if you're telling me it's for health reasons, then why is he making vegan cinnamon rolls that are better than Cinnabon? So I'm just not understanding what's going on here.
I don't know that she's understanding it either. I think she's trying to figure it out in real time.
Right. That's a good point. She probably is. Mm-hmm. And the point is made even more strongly by the end of the article, because she appears to be coming around. And then so then she begins saying, the young vegans may yet convince me. So this is the young vegans again. She started realizing how many products are marked vegan or cruelty-free. The young vegans will not tolerate the mistreatment of animals that the boomers looked away from. I like that idea. But then there's some evidence that the market for plant-based meat alternatives is already slipping. And then she cites some figures and numbers, which we've talked about a lot, how the plant-based meat things are going down. Talks about inflation and how the price of regular meat is still really cheap and these things are expensive. And then ends with, so I will cheer on the young vegans even as I mournfully contemplate a holiday season without turkey or gravy. As much as I love my son, emotionally, I'm light years away from tofurkey. So it just ends on a weird note. Like I don't really understand what to make at the end of all this.
Well, I think the moral of the story is what was interesting to me is that I have a feeling that there's a lot of parents who of people our age or younger, but in their in college or whatever, they come home and try to really grapple with what it means to have a vegan kid or a vegetarian kid, and not really understand how to support them. They're loving and caring and want to support it, and not give them a hard time and not force them to eat meat or whatever.
And she certainly is that, right? She's not.
Yeah,
you can imagine much worse responses than this woman's.
Totally, yeah, but also aren't ready to totally change their diet and way of eating to accommodate them 100%. So I mean, and I think like that's probably a real problem for a lot of parents who just want to be supportive, want to do what they can, but also don't still want the ham or still want the chicken or whatever. Not even outside of Thanksgiving, just want something that they're comfortable cooking. Yeah. So
right.
Like to me, it was a good reminder that that's probably a big group of people that there's not a ton of resources for.
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe the problem is me, that I don't understand, who this is for and who's writing it. So maybe the person who's in that situation would read this and say, "Man, this woman, this is my exact situation. She gets me." Yeah. Mm-hmm. And at the end, but so then I started to think maybe this woman. Maybe it's just like a reader wrote in an article to this Mormon newspaper, like a send in, letter to the editor or opinion thing. But I clicked on her name. She's been writing for 30 years or something. And because a lot of the article is well written, the end seems like she just got tired of writing the article and then decided to put this line about being emotionally light years away from tofurkey. Mm-hmm. After just talking about the vegan meats and how it's such a shame that they're not selling more and that they're having problems. And it just wraps it up that way. So anyway, whatever, it's fine. Like I said, I do applaud her attitude. They're way more open-minded than I think a lot of people of that generation are, and I'm glad for that. Grateful.
There's 153 comments on this article. They're kind of wide-ranging.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Are there any of the staunch anti-vegans saying that veganism in general is terrible?
I'm just now looking at it, but like one is to each their own, I guess, but the very idea of eating an egg for breakfast is somehow harming an animal is silly. Likewise with milking a cow.
Right.
And then lots of yeah. Some people agree with you, Matt. This must be a slow news day. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Interesting perspective that we don't hear much from.
Yeah, right. True. All right, and our other one's not entirely different from that.
Any comments we want to talk about here?
Let's see. I haven't looked at it.
You mentioned that it's a Mormon newspaper, which someone in the comments pointed out.
That's right. That's where I learned that from the commenter. Whoever said that.
Owned by the LDS, indirectly.
What's LDS?
Latter-day Saints, Church of Latter-day Saints, Mormon Church.
Okay.
And then let's talk about the millennials. Dale Stevens says she wants to identify as a boomer. I think you kind of want to identify as a boomer too.
No, not at all. I'm Gen X all the way. I'm proud Gen X.
Okay, boomer.
All right. Let's go on to this other one. I mean, it's kind of funny. I don't know. It's the headline it's from Veg News. The headline is accidentally eaten meat as a vegan. Here's why you shouldn't panic. And then extremely long subheadline. It can be extremely distressing if you're a vegan and you accidentally eat meat, but it's important to take a deep breath and remind yourself that the majority of the time you're making the right choices for the animals and the planet. And so she references at the top of this Chloe Bailey, who we talked about in the Weather Report a few weeks back, who was at a hotel with her sister on this Haley or times Chloe or what I don't know the woman's name. I'm sorry, Hallie Bailey. Hallie times Chloe or whatever the group is called together. They were staying in a hotel on their tour, and she was served a real burger instead of a Beyond Burger, and was horrified. I don't think she said she was angry. She just started crying, and so that was sort of the inspiration for the article. And they give us some advice here. Some of it comes from the Vegan Society, who say, like, yes, of course, there's the possibility that you're going to have some sort of physical reaction to this, right? That isn't due to your mental or psychological trauma, but your body may, not want that food and something. And so like, that's going to happen. You might have heartburn. You might maybe feel nauseous. I don't know, but they said it'll pass, right? Obviously there's an allergy, which is dangerous, but in other cases, it's just something that's going to pass. So don't worry too much about that part. But the strong emotional response is what this article is really about, and how to kind of deal with that. And so the advice largely is, don't worry. It happened in a non-vegan world, and mistakes happen. It says that as one of the subheads. And like, the point is, you're trying your best. This isn't any knock on you and your activism. It just happened. So don't freak out over it. My only reaction to this, like, I don't understand this at all. Like, if I accidentally ate a piece of meat, I would have zero emotional trauma about that. Like, not a bit. I would think it was a little gross, but like, I wouldn't think at all that like, I wouldn't cry. Like, it's not like I did anything. I don't know. Like,
it's okay to cry, Matt. It's okay. Men can cry.
Okay. It's not that I voted with my dollar and decided to eat meat. It happened on accident, right? So no additional money was spent on this. You'd get a refund or get it changed or whatever. If you were a vegan whose goal is to get as much people to notice it as possible, then you get people to notice when you go and return the thing and make a big fuss about having gotten served meat, right? If that's your goal, is to be able to be seen and be loud, perfect opportunity that just arose because of that. So that helps you. And it's not mine, but I don't know. So like, I'm not seeing what is there to be upset about. Like, I guess the fact that you yourself ate an animal when you yourself have dedicated so much of your life, I guess, to not doing that. It just sounds like I think it's like an ego thing. Like, to me, like, if you get that upset when you accidentally eat meat, like, what's so special about you? Like, the whole rest of the world does it, right? Like, if you accidentally do it once, what's changed or worse by that? That just sounds like you're too self-centered to me. Personal,
because you have to restart your vegan clock.
Yeah, right. The whole thing is you throw.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, you're vegan for 10 years, you're doing great, and then just like that
That's what
overnight.
that's what the
You have a
headlines
bite
were
of
saying.
burger, and you
Yeah,
got to start over.
that's what they were saying about Chloe. They were saying she broke her vegan diet or something like that. Or
Yeah,
so
exactly.
she
Just gotta
accidentally just
start
started.
that. Gotta start over. So I mean, I would cry about that too. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Well, I'd like to hear you, Doug, defend when I say sorry. If you get that upset over you accidentally eating meat, that you're egotistical. That's your ego problem. I'd like to hear you take the other side of that. I thought you might.
I don't think I can really. Like, I don't get it either. I don't understand the. I mean, I can understand being grossed out by it, and being turned off, and like, oh, this isn't what I want, or like you start thinking about, like, especially if you're big into the animal cruelty side of things, you start thinking about what that burger used to be, maybe what happened to the animal, but to me, I mean, like, you didn't contribute, or you're not directly contributing to the death of that animal,
Right.
and it happens. It's an accident, and you know, it's something I would get over very, very quickly, without much thought. My question for you is: you take a bite mid chew, you realize what it is, you spitting it out, you're swallowing.
Oh, I would spit it out for sure.
Yeah,
And I think just
definitely.
because of grossness. I don't think that's activism, my choice to spit it out. I guess maybe it is. Maybe that is the personal purity thing that I'm generally opposed to. But yeah, I'm sure I wouldn't just keep eating it.
No, no, no. I'm definitely with you there.
And
This is
maybe
a funny.
now, what if it was a situation though where it wasn't encouraged to be spitting out food? Like, what if you were at a big group and there was conversation about your veganism, and then it was this thing, and you got your vegan burger, and then are you gonna make a scene and spit it out, or just swallow and then quietly sort of
I mean, I'd
put it
probably quietly spit it out, like get a napkin, napkin and stuff. You don't have to be like big. Oh my god!
Right, right.
You can just kind of quiet. I mean, that happened to me maybe a year ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
There were these dumplings at a party, and someone told me, "Oh yeah, they're definitely vegan. This person wouldn't have purchased non-vegan for a party, for this like small
Right.
gathering with you in there." And it turns out they had chicken in there, and I'm like chewing it. I'm like, I don't think this is vegan, and I look inside, and it's definitely not. And so I didn't make a big scene out of it or anything. I just kind of quietly got
Yeah.
a paper towel and
Right.
spit it out.
Good. I think that's the right response. And you didn't cry or anything.
Didn't cry. I
Didn't
did
get
flip over
upset.
the table. Um,
Now
no,
I know some people are gonna cry. That's just how they are gonna handle an emotional situation where someone else might feel just as much emotion but not cry. So I'm not trying to hate on the person who happens to be someone who cries a lot.
yeah,
It's just the nature, just the getting that upset emotionally. I just don't understand. Like you said, like I guess you could imagine someone who feels so much for the animals that they think about the animal itself,
sure.
and but like I guess my point is that it all happens anyway, and you didn't contribute to it at all. It just happened to happen inside your body that you got to taste that animal that had that happen. Right? It's not like the additional animal was killed. You didn't vote with your dollar for it. None of that. It just happened to touch your body. So that's why I'm like. That's why I think it's just sort of like I said.
I think that veganism, though, is just one of those things that, like, certain people, it is just all encompassing of their
Yeah.
thoughts and who they are, their identity, who they socialize with, and everything. And the thought of kind of breaking that is an emotional thing. Is kind of is a really big deal to them.
Yep.
Um, and it may come out in tears, or maybe not. I don't know. But
Maybe
I
it's
used to say
insecurity. Maybe it's insecurity, lack of
insecurity, sure.
identity, and this identity gets a little bit shaken by the fact that you accidentally had meat in your mouth, uh, or in this case, ate a whole burger, like Chloe Bailey did. No, yeah, Chloe Bailey did. Uh, then maybe then suddenly you don't know who you are anymore. I don't know. It's weird.
Maybe she liked it. Maybe she like really liked it. And that's what she was
Maybe that's
crying
what
about.
happened. I don't think so.
uh,
It appears from the quote she said, it does not appear that's the case. But I don't know.
Aisha says she started crying. That's why I'm Gen X. That's what those
Yeah. Uh,
um,
yeah. Kate says she could have been stressed out and tired in general. True. She's on a
yeah,
tour or anything. Lots of stuff could be on that would cause crying. Uh, so that's why I'm not getting on someone about crying. It's just I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
think Phyllis says that it seems like she had more of an emotional response, and I think that's totally true. I mean, who knows what what was going on, and I mean, I'm not gonna. We've been joking. We've been giving this person a hard time, but I'm not
this
making
isn't even
fun of
about
it.
that person to me. Like they wouldn't have written this article if a lot of people didn't, if they didn't sense that a lot of people, and I think a lot of people do have this sort of point of view that would get really upset if they
Yeah.
accidentally ate burger. Not just angry at someone. I understand why you'd be angry at someone, although I'm still going to say that's your ego. But I don't know. I think there are people who really would be emotionally shattered by this, and I think maybe that comes down to the identity thing. That like if it's sort of a big blow to your identity as someone who never eats this stuff, and maybe someone would take it and say, I should have been more careful, and it's my own fault. No matter what happens, I'm responsible. I should have been more careful and found a way to absolutely make sure of that. And if that's the case, then I guess I understand how you could be upset if you said this is on me for making this mistake. I should never let this happen.
Yeah. I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, hard to relate to. I don't know. It just seems to me like, I guess I'm a little more pragmatic. I'd say it's happening anyway. You didn't vote with your dollar. You get a chance to be vocal if that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't see what the big deal is.
I don't either. But you know what? If you got to cry, you got to cry.
Isn't that right? And there's a lot of different types of vegans out there, as we know. We're not necessarily the typical one.
Mr. Jeffrey says the internet tells vegans that they are supposed to get this upset about it. Do we actually know that she did cry, or are we just a little?
I think she said she was in tears.
Mm-hmm.
I think. But you're right. The internet does seem to like this idea of breaking your vegan diet, and that if you've messed up, then you're out. And that's why you get the article every now and then that says, well, your car is vegan. Guess what? You're not vegan because your car uses animal products, and something else that you definitely use has animal products. So therefore, you're not vegan. Yeah. And Phyllis gets to the point here. My reason, Matt, your reasoning is very logical. It seems that she had more of an emotional response. And I think that's exactly what it is. And it doesn't mean I'm right and she's wrong, right? Some people are more emotional. Some people are less emotional, more logical. And neither one is better than the other.
Dale says that my story about the dumpling makes her think of from Big, Tom Hanks in Big, when he realizes the caviar he was eating, when he realized what caviar actually was and started wiping his mouth with a paper towel. I'm going to do that next time. If that ever happens to me again, I'm going to make a huge scene out of it.
I don't remember that scene. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I need to watch that.
It's good.
All right. Well, it's 11:48, so that's our show for today. I will do my best to get the episode up, so those who listen on the podcast will get to hear it in a timely fashion. And that's it. Anything else, Doug?
No.
Thank you, everyone, for coming, participating. Always fun when that happens.
Yes.
And
see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow's our last day of the week, or at least our best day of the week. Last day of the show. I haven't talked that much recently about how Thursday is the best day of the week.
Oh, you can save that for tomorrow's intro.
Tomorrow I'll remind everyone why that is. All right.
Sounds
Have a good day, everyone. Talk to you.